here on KSL News Radio all summer long. It's been fantastic to catch up with coaches and players alike. And right now, it's a special treat for us to be talking with the offensive coordinator down at BYU, Aaron Roderick. Aaron, thanks for spending some time with us again. We really appreciate it.
It's great to be here.
I remember back at the end of spring ball, because you've been asked the quarterback question a million times, and you'll be asked it a million more until someone's named. But you said that you didn't want to have any comments until you had a chance to speak with them. When you spoke with them, what were the words you said to them in terms of the next steps, summer, and getting prepared for the ongoing battle in the fall?
Well, the first thing I covered those guys was that it's a long season, and there's a good chance we're going to need more than one of them.
Yep.
And, there's about 20 teams a year that make it through 12 games with one quarterback. And, that leaves the other 110 teams are going to need more than one. And so the odds of us needing more than one guy to get through this year are high. And so we talked about that, and we talked about the importance of being professional, pushing each other, competing with each other, but also being ready to handle whatever decisions we make and handle it with professionalism so that you're ready to play when your time comes. Because, sometimes I've seen in the past, maybe a guy doesn't take the news real well, kind of goes into pouting mode, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's his chance to play, and he's not ready because he maybe didn't handle tough news the right way. So we've sort of prepared for that, and then just I think another thing we talked about is that each of these guys are still young. Jaren and Baylor are sophomores, and Connor was a freshman. So there's a lot of football left to be played in their careers, not to mention a full, just the season this year ahead of us is a 12-game season. But there's a lot of ball left to be played, and so there are a lot of good things that can still happen for all of those guys. It would not be impossible for each of them to still have a great career at BYU. That can shake out a lot of different ways. And so we're just, those are the most important things right now to keep in perspective, and then to just keep competing one day at a time, get better each day, and then see what happens.
How valuable is it to have a quarterback battle where two of the guys are going into their fourth season in the program? That's pretty unique.
It is unique, and people keep asking me about our personnel and who we lost and who we have coming back. And I don't look too much at who we lost because you can't do anything about that. We lost some good players, but when you look at our depth chart, there's a lot of players on that roster there, or on that depth chart, that have played a lot of football. Quarterbacks included. Baylor Romney's played a lot of football. He's been around. He's played in games. He's played in big games. He played quite a bit last year, more than your. Zach had such a good year, you forget. Baylor got in a lot of games and played well. And he played well the year before. Jaren played really well for us in limited opportunities. And so I have a lot of confidence in those guys because I've seen them do it in a real game. And no reason why they can't do it again.
We've seen snippets of Jaren from 2019, and as you mentioned, we've seen quite a bit from Baylor in various games, and even going back to 2019. We have not seen Jacob. From what you saw last year and even in spring football, what's a skill set or two that's really impressed you from Jacob Conover?
He's a good passer, man. He can throw it. He's got a good arm. He's accurate. And he has a lot of confidence in himself. There's an obvious confidence, air of confidence about him. Maybe you might even call it swagger. He's got that thing. You can see why he won so many games in high school. He's tons of confidence and sort of an infectious personality. It's not obnoxious. He's not arrogant, but he reminds me a lot of Steve Sarkisian. I remember when I got here, Sark was the QB. I remember being in the huddle, sort of learning the offense, being nervous. I'm in the huddle, and Sark calls the play, and he just has a way of making you believe this play is going to score. And Conover kind of has that about him.
Talk with Aaron Roderick here on KSL News Radio, Cougar Sports, Saturday, and BYU football fall camp's going to be opening up on August 5th, and counting down the days to that. But right now it's the off season, and a lot. You mentioned personnel is a big talking point this time of the year when it comes to the off season. And, I was just curious with the quarterback, besides Jaron, Baylor, and Conover, how many other quarterbacks do you have in the room? Soljay's still there. Jake Jensen. Who else do you have? Is that it?
We're working our way through that. Jake Jensen. I guess it's time to say this. He's going to go play for a junior college in California. I think he went to Contra Costa College in NorCal. I'm pretty sure that's the one. And then we've had Rhett Riley on the team the last couple of years, and Rhett is may or may not be with us. We certainly are welcoming him back. He's also looking at what his options might be to get on the field. Don't blame him for that. He's been a great member of our team, and he might be with us. But then we're always looking. It never ends. Recruiting never ends, and with the transfer portal, you always have to be alert for who the next best available player is. And so we're trying to get at least one QB per year, one new QB per year on scholarship. And so if that's a portal guy, it's a portal guy. If it's a high school freshman, then so be it. If it's a JC guy, I'm open to anything. Just we got to make sure we keep the room stocked with good players that fit our program. And, we keep enough good guys in there competing with each other, and
how do you envision working out the repetitions and the playing time to incorporate some of the new guys who didn't participate in spring football, Puka Nakua, Samson Nakua, Down Holker? How are you going to get them into the mix?
We are very thorough in how we plan our practices. Every rep is scripted. Every rep has a purpose. Every play. When we go against our defense, like in scrimmage type settings, they'll just call the game they'll just call the defense like a game, so we don't know exactly what defense we're going to see. But when we go into scout team periods and stuff like that, we script the defenses we want to see, right down to which coverages or blitzes or whatever. And in addition to that, we script who's going to be in those plays. And we plan it out. You don't just haphazardly go out there and at the end of the day go, how many reps did Tyler Algier get? There's a plan before practice. What's the right load for Tyler Algier? What's the right load for Peeny? And then how do we get some of these younger guys enough reps to find out who they are? You do the same thing with your receivers and your tight ends. You want to get your veteran players, proven guys, enough work that they're staying sharp. And then you want to give then you want to be smart about what's left. And there's a plan before you go out there. It's just not just like random.
Talking with offense coordinator Aaron Roderick here on KSL News Radio. And I remember back at the year when you were off from coaching in 2017, you studied a lot of programs. I remember you mentioning that when you joined the staff in 2018, you studied the likes of like Northwestern, NFL teams. I'm curious, this offseason, has there been any maybe pro offenses or college programs that maybe piqued your interest in terms of studying and just kind of learning what's out there in the world of football?
Yeah, too many to name. And that was one of the really great things about last year, the COVID year.
Sure.
Quotation marks. We had several months. Spring ball ended early. We weren't allowed to go on the road recruiting. We weren't even allowed to go in the building at work, and we couldn't be around the players. So here we were, college football coaches with months of time on our hands. I had a lot of fun studying other teams in that time, and we were able to get those, whatever those games are or cut-ups are on our computers from home, and I watched a lot of football then. And then this offseason we've done it again, which some of it's assigned projects where I'll ask certain members of the staff, hey, go study this, go study that, come up with some projects for each guy, and then guys report back and we'll dive into these things and see if there's anything there that can help make us better. And sometimes it's just for fun. We just want to see, hey, why is this team so good? What are they doing? What's their secret? So yeah, we do a lot of that, and then just the NFL and college football.
What's the plan for the rest of summer before fall camp for the offensive staff? I imagine there's some time off in there, and then maybe, as you said, every play in camp there's a purpose, there's a script. I imagine there's a lot of time that goes into getting that prepared as well.
Yeah, we've got the first 5 practices of fall camp already planned out. They're planned out, detailed, scripted. We're ready to roll. We do get some family time off in July. There's a recruiting dead period in July where you can't have recruits on campus anyway, so that's the perfect time that Kwani gives us that time for family. And then when we come back for fall camp, we can just roll right into it because we're already set for that. So right now, it's players are working out. They're doing player run practices. We have position meetings with them. They'll continue with that stuff through July and get a little break right the week before camp, and then we go. And, the idea is that you're staying sharp, you're in great shape, and you're hungry. You come to camp like excited about football, and that's I think there's no way not to be excited this year. It's just fun to be back. It's fun to have fans in the stands.
Players are going to be reporting on August 4th, and then that first fall camp practice is on August 5th. And one of the things that's always kind of interesting with fall camp, is just seeing some of the new faces that could be joining the program, guys that maybe weren't around in spring. On the offensive side, is Dylan Rollins, Elia Miguel, Quinton Rice, are those like the only guys from the 2021 class that'll be joining this fall?
Without having all that information, I don't have a roster and our scholarship numbers in front of me.
Gotcha.
So I might make a mistake if I try to respond to that.
With
there will be a few new faces for sure, but I can't off the top of my head say who those are or who is or isn't.
Sure. Understandable. But one guy that is here on campus right now is Dallin Holker, a return missionary, excuse me. And is how difficult though is it for a return RM to be a factor in the 2 deep on that first year back? Is it doable?
Yes. Now the missions affect guys differently. It's a case-by-case thing. Some guys come home, and I think a lot of it depends on where they went. A lot of it depends on genetics and what body type you are and what position you play. But in Dallin's case, it appears that they sent him to Gold's Gym for 2 years because he came home looking better than he looked before he left. And I saw him yesterday with his shirt off out on our practice field, walking out on our practice field, and he's going to play. He's ready to go. That guy's a good football player, and he looks the part.
A few more moments here with the offensive coordinator down at BYU, Aaron Roderick. How important is it to get the offensive line up to speed? And what I mean by that is you lose Brady Christensen, you lose some NFL caliber offensive linemen. How important is it to get that group solidified in fall camp to have another great offensive year?
Well, it's huge because everything starts with them. If you can't block people, you've got no chance. So it doesn't matter how many good skill guys we have if we can't block. But I don't look at who left. Brady was a great player, but I look at who we have to work with, and that group has a lot of guys that play a lot of football. So, yeah, it's hard to lose Brady Christensen. He's such a good player, but I'm really glad that Blake Freeland is the guy taking his place because Blake started games 2 years ago in 2019. He started against Boise State and started at right tackle the rest of the season. And then this past season, he rotated all year. He played half the season. So he's a veteran player who's 6'9" and super athletic. So he's taken over at left tackle. He'll be good. I feel great about that. And, Harris LaChance at right tackle. That's another guy who's 6'8" and athletic. Played a lot of football for us. He's a veteran. And our right guard spot that is open. We got Joe Tukuafu, who's been a multi-game starter last year at center and can easily play guard, easy. And Connor Pay, who's also played a lot of football last year as a freshman. A lot of people didn't notice the bowl game. James was out. Joe started the game and got hurt early in the game. Connor Pay came in and we didn't skip a beat. We played the whole game with Connor Pay at center. He hadn't played a rep of center all season. All he did was snap every day before practice, and then he'd go play guard or tackle. We came in and we didn't skip a beat. So when you just consider that these guys have all played in a lot of games, and now you still got James Empey and you still got Clark Barrington, who are 3-4 year starters. We're gonna be fine. And so, yeah, Brady's great. I love him. We're gonna miss him, but these guys can play. We'll be good.
Is Nanu, Keanu Saliapaga, is he healthy, ready to go for fall camp?
That is in question right now. He's not back yet.
You mentioned Connor Pay. You know, he that bowl game. What's even more impressive is that the O-line coach was there, and Jeff Grimes, you know, and a guy that was heavily involved with the O-line too. They're not there, and he steps in and still performs at a high level against a pretty good UCF team.
That was one of the more impressive things I've seen in my coaching career is the way Connor played in that game.
Yeah, could he be someone that could play almost any spot on the line? Is he that type of lineman?
He's he's versatile like that. He can play tackle, guard, or center. And 5-spot linemen are rare. Usually you have sort of inside guys and then tackle type guys. And he can do it all.
Last couple of things here for you, Coach. The wide receiver room, Gunnar Romney and Neil Powell back, and those guys. That's a great starting point for your wide receiver room to have those guys. But I felt like Chris Jackson was someone who made some significant strides in spring ball. Cody Epps, I know he's battled some injuries, but then this wide receiver room feels like it's maybe as talented as BYU's ever had. And you could speak that. You had experience being in a wide receiver room at BYU, so this is a pretty loaded group.
Yeah, it's a good group. You mentioned everybody knows Gunnar. He's been a productive player for us. He's a deep threat. Neil Pa'u, I think, is the most underrated player in our whole program. Very unsung player last year, but that guy's a good football player. He is a matchup problem for anybody we play. Teams that want to play man coverage against us. Neil just abuses corners. When you try to cover him with somebody bigger, he's just too quick. He's too athletic. He's a tough guy. He's really smart, excellent blocker. I think if he stays healthy, I believe he'll play in the NFL. He's a good football player that doesn't get a lot of attention for some reason, but I promise you the teams that play against us know who he is. And then we've added the Nakua brothers, and then you mentioned some of these younger guys that are up and coming. So what's left now to do is just go prove it. We got to go do it on Saturdays against some good defenses. So is the material there? Yes. These guys are good players. Now we got to go do it against 7 Power 5 teams and Boise State and South Florida. I mean, these guys are good teams, so it's gonna be a challenge. But I got a lot of belief in these guys. And
you also got guys like Braden Cosper, Keanu Hill, Tanner Wall. So yeah, we could keep going on. There's a lot of talent.
Yeah, Keanu, man. Every time Keanu got an opportunity last year, he stepped up and played well. Cody Epps, all through camp, was like right there with all the veteran players. And you mentioned he had a few injury issues that kind of held him back, but he was a big-time high school player that he's got a really bright future ahead of him. Chris Jackson's one of the fastest guys on our team. It's competitive, and they're going to have to fight to get on the field because those veteran guys can play. And so, but we're going to probably need them all this year. With this schedule, your depth will get tested. And I thought in 2018 and 2019. Our depth got exposed in the second half of the season. And last year, our depth was a strength. And now this year, our depth is going to get tested even more with the physicality of these teams that we're going to play. So we're going to need every guy we have.
He is offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick. We appreciate it. Have some good family time, good summer. Beware the Beaver Supercharger stop on your way down to Vegas in a little bit. Place. Now, here's what's interesting. They have put in like 14 new stalls, so maybe it's fine. But I've been scarred. So we're referring to driving electric vehicles and charging on a road.
I know nothing
trip.
about that, Matt.
Welcome to the cult that is the Tesla owner.
Here's a random question for you. Speaking of being a Tesla owner, do you use hold mode when you drive?
I forget which one that is.
Hold mode is when you stop and it just automatically goes like an 8 shows up on the screen, because you can You can set it to be like a gasoline car where
I've
you
got
just
park.
roll.
No, I'm not on the one that's like a gasoline.
Me neither.
I'm
So
on
you're on hold.
I'm on
You're on
hold.
hold.
Yeah. Okay. I couldn't remember the names of them, but I'm on that one.
I've got reverse, neutral.
Hold is the one to be on. That is it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
It's you know what's also cool, Mitch. You only drive with one foot.
Man, that's
Phenomenal.
pretty cool. I'm envious of you guys with the Tesla. Well, Coach, we appreciate you spending so much time with us and being generous, and really appreciate